It's knowing that we can't go on forever. One of us is gonna have to spend some days alone. Maybe we'll have 40 years together, but one day I'll be gone. One day you'll be gone. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Olivia Rodrigo's Vampire probably would have been more thematically appropriate, but I just wanted to sing something pretty. Welcome back to StillerBros the Movies, where today we're talking about something a little different. Well, not different this year. This is the third Warner Brothers movie we've done this year where the lead actor is talking to himself for most of it.
But Sinners. This is, again, us kind of breaking our rule of going to see a horror movie in the theater because it's Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan.
Basically, here's the thing. Ryan Coogler is the guy who made Black Panther, if you are unfamiliar. He wrote and directed the first two Black Panther movies. Supposedly, he's going to come back for the third one when they start working on that. But for right now, we have got him working on what might be one of the weirder projects that someone could work on when they have the blank check that Hollywood gives you when you make billions of dollars.
And especially with this thing, it is extra weird because this is his first wholly original movie.
Yeah, like Ryan Coogler's movies have been Fruitvale Station, which was based on a true story. Technically original, but also pulled from the headline. Creed, which is a spin-off slash sequel slash remake of Rocky. Then he did the two Black Panther movies, which are obviously based on comic books. So he was pulling from various comic book storylines and everything like that in order to tell the story he wanted to tell. This is the first movie that Ryan Coogler has ever made off the basis of somebody came up with a fun idea for a movie, and so they just decided to make it.
And because of that, we have a very interesting concept of just a movie about vampires in the Old West. Or at least that's what we can glean from the advertisements.
Yeah, we don't know much about this movie because it's an original story with the big selling point being the major actors and the big-time director attached to it.
And it's probably going to lead to us not really having much to say in the preconceptions portions of this.
Yeah, because really when we're talking like this, we're usually being like, oh, this is cool, this is awesome. But here it's like, Ryan Coogler shot it on film.
It's the second R-rated movie to be shot on IMAX.
And that's about it.
It's like the actors in this time around are Michael B. Jordan, again, like we said a second ago, playing a dual role of twin brothers.
And then we've got Haley Steinfeld, who is always good in just about every movie she's ever been in. Like, even movies you forgot she was in, Pitch Perfect 2, suddenly it's like, oh yeah, she was pretty good in that.
Yeah. Like, we're talking about an actor who, when we saw her for the first time in theaters when she was, 12, we were like, this girl is insanely good. Because we saw True Grit, and she got nominated for an Oscar for that.
Deservedly so. But it's just, we've got a reliable director, two reliable stars. What more can we say?
I mean, we're very interested in seeing what this is. And again, it's leaning on the horror side of things.
Yeah, it's a genre that Ryan Coogler's not touched yet. Like, even moments in his movies where it could feel like there was a horror movie slant to it, there weren't. Except for maybe the first scene in Black Panther where they have T'Challa going around in the dark and beating up human traffickers.
Yeah. Although it occurred to me today that these are the two genres we don't really see blend together. Like, never really think of a horror movie set during the Old West. Like, I can't name any off the top of my head. The closest I can come up with is Cowboys vs. Aliens, where you get a lot of sequences that feel sort of horror adjacent.
But that's a sci-fi movie, not a horror movie.
Yeah.
And I think there's been a few, but they're not really like big noteworthy ones.
Like these two genres blending together, like we don't get this era of time represented in horror movies that much.
Like, maybe this isn't an Old West movie. Like, I think I saw Tommy Guns at one point in the trailer, so it might be somewhere closer to, like, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, where it's, like, kind of Old West, but also
slightly more modern. I don't know. Like we said, we don't know a lot about this, so a lot of what we're talking about right now is just speculating on what little we know. We saw the trailer. We know about the director. We know about 2 of the lead actors. We don't know a lot of who else is attached, but whatever. There used to be a time when that was all you ever got from a movie before you bought a ticket, and now we just need to kind of jump in blind and assume that we're gonna be in for a good time. I mean, there's times when I miss this kind of movie-going experience where we just saw advertisements where, like, we didn't know an Aragon movie was being made until we saw the teaser poster one day when we were at the theater. Like, that's an era we don't have anymore. We know exactly when a movie's greenlit in the era of 24-hour news. Okay, now do that with a movie that's not mediocre. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a lot of rambling. Sinners is... We'll see what we come out with. We don't know a lot. Hopefully we enjoy it because we are not big on horror, but we understand what makes a good horror movie. Judging from the critics' reviews and what people seem to be saying about it, Ryan Coogler also seems to know what makes a good horror movie. So we'll see after the chapter. So, after the disappointment that was Minecraft, disappointment may be a bit of an overstatement. After the mess that was the Minecraft movie, it's kind of amazing that Warner Brothers put this out within a month. Yeah, because that was freaking amazing. This is a movie that's very clearly Ryan Coogler cashing in the blank check that directing $2 billion superhero movies really pushed into him. It's one of those things where you look at it as a whole and you're like, how do you explain this to people? Where does this come from? This is not for everybody. This is a movie where you need to go along for the ride, understand that sometimes it's not going to be literal. Sometimes weird stuff is going to happen just for the sake of telling a weird part of the story. But you also need to understand that this is a movie that is very much one guy telling a very interesting and compelling story. Yeah, especially from the fact that there is a oneer in this movie that is just pure insanity on a level that you could not comprehend. It's mostly there for Ryan Coogler to flex, to just be like, look what I did, but also it has the smallest bit of a point to the story because it's an exemplification of the power of our main character, her Sammy's musical talents. And speaking of the music, Ludwig Göransson continues to be a musical chameleon because he'll do a big Star Wars suite for The Mandalorian, he'll do African tribal work for the Black Panther movies, and now Mississippi Delta Blues. And it is just, the music in this movie is so good. It's so compelling, and it tells the story in a different way than you would have expected going into this, knowing, oh, it's a movie about gangsters and musicians fighting vampires. You'd think, well, there's going to be music in it, but is it going to tell the story? It tells the story. Yeah. Like, and I just gotta say, the sound mixing on this movie is amazing. It never stops telling part of the story in different ways, and we were sitting pretty much alone in that movie theater, and the way that the sound mix worked, it made it sound perfectly like we were in the middle of crowds every time that there was one in the movie. Yeah, you could hear little conversations just in the background noise of everything. You would have a scene where we're walking through a crowd and suddenly you're hearing little bits of conversation that are way more fleshed out than you'd expect from just, we're walking through a crowd. Are the actors just improvising dialogue? No, there's actual thought and effort put into what they're saying to basically flavor the world that we're pushed into the middle of. In 1933 Mississippi, it feels almost as realistic as it can be, which is weird because the movie that I thought of the most for like the first half an hour of the movie is probably Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Yeah, but that's obvious. Which is the exact opposite of building a world around the Mississippi Delta, because that movie is just basically a big cartoon. Yeah, but the big thing about it is just the fact that there is so much backstory and history. It's a big thing. It might be more complex than Wakanda.
The fact that you've still got about half an hour left in the movie when we're still getting backstory stuff fed to us through kind of the most natural feeling of means. This isn't like, oh, we forgot to mention this part. This part didn't need to come up until this point, but now it kind of feels convenient that we bring up, hey, these characters served in World War One.
Yeah, we see all this stuff. There's still stuff to be brought in, and it just feels. You just see this world. It's tactile. It's real. That's the thing about a period piece. You see it, and you see the work that's put into it.
And then there's the performances, particularly the ones that most people would feel stand out, being the two actors who rarely, if ever, turn in bad performances.
Yes, but we also have the introduction of the actor Mike Canton playing the lead role of Sammy, who is kind of the lead role, sort of.
It's mostly an ensemble piece, but if there's anyone who keeps the movie grounded, it's Sammy.
Because he's kind of our POV character. He's our window into this world. You know, Michael B. Jordan is fantastic in this movie, obviously.
And that's really stretching it by the fact that he has to play two different characters, which is something that the movie uses to convey certain elements of it. It does have whole scenes where these two characters are basically playing to opposite sides of the story.
If I had one nitpick about that, I wish they would have made him look a little more different.
Yeah, it would be nice if they didn't have the exact same facial hair, the exact same haircut, stuff like that. I know, working on timetables and everything like that, but maybe if you had given one of them some kind of distinguishing characteristic so that when we're cutting between two conversations, it wouldn't feel like, oh, I don't remember where we are. Who is he? Which one is he talking to this time?
It definitely also wouldn't help with the Uncanny Valley, where you have two exact copies of the same person.
Yeah,
but this is the first time we see them together. We see them standing next to each other. It's like, that's the same fucking person.
But Haley Steinfeld is playing a character unlike we've ever seen her play.
It is so different. She's basically playing two characters, because at one point in the story she basically shifts to a different character altogether.
But it's kind of jarring in a not a bad way, but in a way that it's just it's kind of like when you see a Disney Channel star in a grown-up movie and they swear for the first time, and you're just like, oh right, you're a person and there you are swearing. Wow, that's different.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. We haven't seen every Haley Steinfeld movie before, but but the character she plays in this is so much different than anything we've ever seen. Because we've mostly seen her in comedies.
Yeah, because we saw her in True Grit, like we said before, but we've seen a bunch of her more recent stuff like Bumblebee and Hawkeye.
This part is just kind of different. It's not bad, it's just different. So it's interesting to see this completely different side of her, and her and Michael B. Jordan have been on the press junkets together, and their friendship is charming in so many ways. I hope they're able to do more movies together, because I'd love to see that friendship on full display even more.
They obviously can't do a Marvel movie together for obvious reasons.
But yeah, I don't know. Sinners is just kind of a hard movie to talk about, because it's hard to talk about a movie that does everything right.
Especially when you can't talk about spoilers, because there's a moment at the end that in our current times felt so good.
But it also feels like the kind of thing where spoiling the movie just kind of wrecks it, because there's so many twists and turns to it. It's obviously a kind of locked door, defend the castle kind of movie for the last third of it, but it's also just this gritty, dark movie that finds a hope in the little things and then just kind of rips it away, only to find hope differently.
Yeah, it's very, very, very complicated, but also just kind of a really gory, good time.
So, I guess that's it. Sinners is the kind of movie that if you're into kind of horror movies with like weird artsy dynamics, then yeah, it's worth a watch.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's it for right now. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to leave in the comments what you may or may not have thought of Sinners. And don't forget to tune in next time when I'm not even supposed to be here today. Bye.